Welcome once again to Cheesy Dan Reviews. As always, I'm Cheesy Dan. Up on the plate today, we have the Stars and Strikes Cheese Lover Pizza. This one features mozzarella, cheddar, jack, and parmesan. Now, this pizza comes from a place called Stars and Strikes, which is a family fun zone, and I decided that I want to do a series focusing in on some of those pizzas. Why? Because, some of you probably been there for a birthday party and had a pizza. The question is, was it any good? So I want to take this one home, take it out of the box, give it a bite, get the cheesy score, and find out if this cheese is worth your dough. So stick with me and let's find out. To determine if this cheese is worth your dough, we're going to judge it based on its appearance, its day one taste, its value. Take a slice and stick it in the fridge, come back on day 3 for the reheat. We'll take all 4 scores, add them together, divide them by 4, and then we'll know the cheesy score. All right, well, let's open up the box and let's see what we got for our money. Well, initial view here. Overall, of course, you can see it is pretty orange, but that has to do with the fact that this one came with cheddar. You can see some of the big chunks of Parmesan and a little bit of the spread of the Parmesan here. Obviously, when you look at it, you can see too where the cheese didn't quite meet it all the way at the top. That's not necessarily a big problem. That's just the way it was made. There's a little chunk missing here. I'm not quite sure I know what caused that. Let's see if I can come in on there. Not quite sure what caused that. Overall, it's a good smelling pizza. I would say my initial appearance on this one, I would say I'll put it at a 7. I'm not a huge fan of cheddar, so it obviously does add some orange to the pizza. And I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but like right in here, there's a bit of a pooling of grease. But it is a thin style pizza. It does look like it's cooked well. So the next thing we've got to do is pick a slice. Let's see. I'll go ahead and pick the weird one. We'll get this one right here. So let's come back now. This pizza, for again being a pizza from a entertainment family fun center, it comes in at $19.99 plus tax. Now they do try to kind of force a tip on you. I ended up putting a tip in there, but understand you don't necessarily have to do that, but they try to sneak that in on you. When you compare this in price to, for instance, like the Marco's Big Cheese, the Marco's Big Cheese is about $2 less than this. But keep in mind that is a fast food style pizza, whereas this is more of a sit down environment. And typically you kind of expect to get marked up when you go to a restaurant that's inside of a family fun zone. So it's not as high as you would expect it to be. And it kind of still falls in line, especially being what we consider a specialty with all the extra cheeses. So as far as value goes, even though $19.99 seems like a lot, it is actually not a bad value. So I would put this one on a value score. I'd put it at an 8. I could easily see this being more like $17.99, but don't expect that when you're going to a family fun zone. So not too bad there. Now, the only thing we got left, we need to take a bite out of this one and see if it's any good. So let's do that. First taste, not amazing. The crust itself, definitely nothing special there. Just tastes like crust. The cheeses, the mixes, maybe it's because there's an over amount of mix of cheddar or something else. I'm not quite sure how to put my finger on it. It's just not a great taste. I'm not really tasting much of the sauce. Let me try one more. Yeah, it's not a bad pizza. It's just not that great. It's not something I would look forward to eating. Now, if I'm at a party with a family for someone's birthday party and they put this on the plate, am I going to eat it? Yeah, I'm going to eat it. But would I ever purposely go out of my way to eat this specific pizza? Probably not. I would say as far as initial taste on this one, I'm going to put this one at a 4.5 on a day one taste. Hey, just wanted to interrupt real quick. After having a chance to taste it a little bit more and see some of the aftertaste that came with it, and then also giving my kids a chance to taste it, we all kind of agreed that 4.5 is a little too high for this pizza. I'm actually going to go ahead and revise the score, and this one's going to get a day one taste score of a 3. Unfortunately, of course, that might not make happy the one who recommended this to me over and over and over again. But hey, at least I'm reviewing the pizza. So let's stick a slice in the fridge, and we're going to come back on day 3 and see what the day 3 reheat score is. So before we do that, give you a chance to pick out the pizzas here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And cover number 11 there, and you tell me which slice you thought I picked on day 3. We'll come back on day 3 and see if you're right.
3 days later.
All right, we're back on day 3 with the Stars and Strikes cheese liver pizza. Let's see how it came out of the fridge. Now, taking a look at it here, you can see some lines and things. That's just mainly because it was in a Ziploc bag in the fridge. Overall, does not look a lot different than it did on day 1. I will say the smell's not amazing. Not super looking forward to this one, but as you know, we got to heat it up and give it its day 3 taste test. So let's go ahead and let's do it. All right, now that it's gotten a chance to get a little bit of time heating up, I'll be honest, I'm not really looking forward to this one. The smell is not amazing. If you've kind of smelled older mozzarella cheese that has kind of that feet smell, that's kind of unfortunately what this one smells like. And if you remember, I even had to revise the score on this one after tasting some of the aftertaste. But, you know, I'm a glutton for punishment, I guess, and here we are on day 3. The pizza itself, you know, unfortunately, I'm not a fan of cheddar on a pizza, and you could definitely see a lot of the orange from that cheddar. But as a reminder, I always give you the chance to pick which slice you think I was going to pick for day 3. On this one, I picked slice number 2. So hopefully you got a chance to pick that one as well. But on this one, I guess there's, as they say, nothing left to do but to do it. So here we go. Yeah, it's not good. The kind of taste like we mentioned on day 1 with almost like a cheap macaroni taste. That's kind of what I'm tasting now. And honestly, this is probably not a pizza I would come back on day 3 to eat. I would say this is probably a pizza that's better left in the moment. Eat it when it's hot, fresh, and you're playing, you know, arcade games or bowling, and you just need something to eat right then and there, and you don't want to leave the family fun zone. So unfortunately, on this one, for a day 3 taste, I'm going to put this one at a 1, which is the lowest score I can give. So with a score of a 1 for day 3, that's going to bring the Stars and Strikes cheese liver pizza to a cheesy score of 4.75. Not a great finish. Honestly, the value was there. The initial appearance, it wasn't necessarily a bad looking pizza, but it definitely fell on its face when it came to the actual taste, which is kind of the most important thing. So for the Stars and Strikes pizza, not a recommendation from me at all. I know that I had a lot of comments from one person trying to get me to review this one. Probably not the result they were hoping for.
Sorry, not sorry.
But I guess everybody has their own individual favorites and flavors. But for me, it's going to be a no. So I'm going to go ahead after this one. I'm going to try a couple other family fun zones and see if I can compare, you know, their value and their taste, and see if we can pick out a winner amongst them so that you know, hey, if you take your kid to one of these centers, is the pizza worth your dough or not? So hopefully you'll stick around and get a chance to watch some more of those videos to see how they compare. But unfortunately for this one, I think the only reason it did as well as it did on the cheesy score is mainly just because of the value. If the value hadn't been as strong, this one would have been the very bottom of the pizzas I've tested so far. But because of the value and the original appearance not being too bad, this one actually comes in 3rd from the bottom, or tied for 3rd for the bottom. It's tied with the DiGiorno's extra large 4 cheese. And not that that one tasted bad, but it was a terrible value and just bland taste. So not a great finish, but you know, that's what happens when you're testing these pizzas. So As we always like to finish the video, until we eat again, stay cheesy.